Welcome back to Retail Tech Show in London, England. I'm at the FreedomPay block, and at the moment I'm speaking with Dmitry Sokolov, who is Global Vertical Lead at Retail HP, and we have got a lot of stuff to talk about. By virtue of the fact that HP is a fairly new partner with FreedomPay, but in that short span of time, there's been some amazing developments that have occurred. So, first of all, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
For sure. So in your words, can you describe, let me back this up and make it an actual question. The nature of the relationship between FreedomPay and Hewlett-Packard is pretty unique in that you're doing something that's really never been done before in the marketplace. But maybe let's back up a step or two and talk about HP's role in this particular space.
Sure. So HP, and it's HP Inc., we are a device and related services manufacturer and provider in the retail space. We're super excited to have actually reached the #1 position worldwide in point of sale shipments. So we provide the actual endpoints that the clerks in the store use to check out the transaction. And that is both on the fixed, on the self-service side, and mobile side, which I think are really where the relationship with FreedomPay came from, right? So one of the challenges of retailers is how to implement mobility, right? Mobility is super important. We want our associates to have the right tools in our hands, but we also want it to be transactional to be able to transact the actual customer and finish the transaction. So HP provides the tablet component of it. It's called the HP Engage Go 10. It's a convertible device that actually bridges the fixed use case and the mobile. So you can detach the tablet and walk into the aisle or even outside the store. And FreedomPay helps us with the payment piece. So as part of the architecture on this device, there's an Ingenico module built into the actual housing, which makes it a really integrated look and feel. You know, doesn't add additional bulk to this device. And FreedomPay is what powers the actual payment portion on that.
So my understanding, and you're deeper into this process than I have been, is that that's a pretty unique solution. That there really hasn't been that kind of deep integration packaged in with that kind of system flexibility.
For sure, if you think about it, when an associate is engaging with a customer, their attention really needs to focus on the customer. In addition, if you're trying to facilitate a transaction, you may be fumbling their product. You may be trying to bag it. The less devices you need to kind of have in your hands, the better it is. And combining the payment piece with a tablet really takes away at least one of those devices out of the equation, making it easier for the associate.
Interesting. Let's talk a little about what HP is doing in this space, your role there. HP, obviously, you said, is the #1 device supplier right now?
#1 point of sale vendor globally by shipment.
That's a massive win, so congratulations on that. Let's globally, does that strength regionally, where are your efforts right now?
Sure, well I think we're a global company, which is super important for a lot of our customers. Because even if we're working with them in a particular country or region, many of them are multinational. If you think of European retailers, virtually all of them are multinational in the European Union. So having the same provider across multiple countries, multiple geographies is really important. Now at the same time, we have offices in something like 70 countries around the world, right? So there's also a strong local presence, which is then important from a servicing perspective. And I think that's why our partnership works quite well, because FreedomPay is also available across multiple geographies as well.
Sure. Let's talk about verticals a little bit. Again, as a global company, HP is known throughout the world in countless verticals, but in this particular instance, are there verticals where you're going harder and stronger, or is it more of a broad approach?
Sure, so we do divide kind of our outlook on retail and hospitality. So that's the two kind of broadest distinctions. But of course within retail, there's the sub-verticals. I think what's more important is to look at different use cases. Where if you think of food, drug, convenience, and mass merchant, or the food retailing, really that's a lot about curbside pickup, right? So there is some line busting, absolutely, but we're looking at curbside pickup enablement, maybe adding to the cart if somebody wants to add some more, and be able to take a payment outside the four walls of the store. If you look at specialty retail, that is more about queue busting. How do we get customers in and out, not have them queued up, and wait a long time? So this payment and mobility is relevant in every sub-vertical, it's just how they apply it to changes.
Let's talk about some of the changes that people are now dealing with, retailers are now dealing with post-pandemic. As I think the entire world is aware, a massive pivot immediately technologically because the world demanded that retailers could respond to an online purchase, whereas maybe prior to that they hadn't. Cut to 2 years later, and that incredibly quick pivot has now had a chance to settle in a little bit. Some of those quick turn technologies maybe have either matured a little bit or they've kind of fallen out of favor a little bit. This new device package that we're talking about seems like it took all of that rapidity and flexibility and packaged it into one thing that has probably a really, really long shelf life based on what's packaged into it.
For sure. Well, I think that multi-purpose and multi-function is really at the core of the HP Engage Go. Because for us, we had tablets and retail-specific tablets in the market for many, many years now. And what struck us, with our first line of products is, unfortunately, too often, the retailer realizes that mobility is important. I think a customer agrees that like associates have mobile tools at their disposal, and many surveys support that as well. But the staff is not always ready for a different way of interacting with the customer. So having it as a convertible tool that combines both mobile and give them the ability to move with it allows to ease the staff into the interaction, right? Make sure they're comfortable with it. Now we talk about some of the technologies that came out of the pandemic, and what we had recently is, of course, e-commerce now plays a tremendously bigger role of retail. But there is a part, I think economists call it regression to the mean, where we'll get really excited, we adopt something really, really quickly, but then eventually we kind of go slightly to our old ways. We're further ahead. E-commerce is going to have a much bigger presence, especially if you divide two concepts, shopping and procurement. If you're just procuring products, right, call it toilet paper, that's simple procurement. If there's an experience involved, actually being in the store, touching the brand, understanding how it fits, or having the hands-on approach, that's not only not going away, but also growing. If you look at the direct-to-consumer trend from a lot of the key brands that we interact with, they're all opening flagship stores. Why? And that's because they want the customer to experience them firsthand. And this type of mobile technology with mobile payment component really helps that a lot.
Facilitates that with incredible flexibility.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about customer expectations and how they've changed so quickly over the past couple of years, and some of the technologies that you and I are both seeing that are kind of helping that along. But we've seen data recently, in fact, that consumer expectations within almost every category of business are increasing at whatever, probably on average 7 to 10% if you baseline it somewhere. Brands within those same categories are improving are meeting those customer expectations at way lower rates. So there's a growing gap in there between what customers really want and expect versus brands' ability to really meet those. Understanding that is one thing, but then having the ability to meet them once you understand them is vital. It seems to me like technology such as we're talking about can go an awful long way to bridging that gap and filling up that headspace and meeting those opportunities.
Absolutely, and what you're saying actually really reflects what we found in the 2021 Consumer Technology Engagement Study that we did. And that gap between expectations of the customers and retailers' self-evaluation of their capabilities is, as you said, is absolutely growing. So how do you bridge it? A lot of it, and even consumers are actually saying the same thing, that technology in the hands of customers is helpful. Now it has to be thoughtfully implemented, it has to be flexible, and it has to have the right application capability in the environment. But absolutely, technology provides the flexibility and the tools for these associates to be more efficient. And if you think about the other area, if you look at the global labor crisis, right? I mean, really, it started from the pandemic, but it hasn't went away. Retailers and hospitality operators in virtually every country, every geography, are struggling to fill vacation spots. So technology can help the existing staff be more efficient, or sometimes undertake the roles that were challenging before to fill. So there's two roles there.
Let's talk a little bit about timing. This new technology rolls out to market when?
So the HP Engage Go 10 is available today. It's something that we already have in the market, and the integration is right now live in process. I'm hoping that it's going to be completed soon, and let's call it very near term.
Okay, fantastic. Dmitry, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you.
Looking
You too.
forward to connecting and seeing how this rollout has gone and where we go again. Dmitry Sokolov is Global Vertical Lead at Retail, Hewlett-Packard. Thanks again.
Awesome, thank you.
And
Have
I
a great
want to
day.
thank all of our viewers. Thank you, Dmitry. All of our viewers who've tuned in today from Retail Tech Show in London. We appreciate, thank you from FreedomPay, thank you from all of us. We'll see you next year.